And let me see. Oh, maybe this one, invitation from Mr. H. Tonight, Mr. H has invited himself over for dinner. He has arrived early from work. He has removed his tie and served himself a glass of wine while he reviews the ordinary mail. He lights a small cigar of perfume leaves. He puts on the Billie Holiday CD that has "I'm a Fool to Want You." He takes the shrimp out of the refrigerator and boils it with bay leaf and a bit of salt. He begins preparing a mango and cilantro chutney. He peels the mango, cuts it into small cubes, and adds a pinch of solitude. Such a fool to hold you. He chops the cilantro very finely, some Roma tomatoes, and mixes everything well with 2 ounces of sadness. He sprinkles the mango, cilantro, and tomato with a drizzle of olive oil and adds a bit of hopelessness. To seek a kiss, to share a kiss. He pours a sip of Malbec in the opal glass, and Billie Holiday sings, "Time and time again, I said I'll leave you, I went away." As he cooks the chutney, avoiding all desperation, he cuts a bit of manchego cheese, and he sets the bread with garlic and olive oil to toast. Once dinner is ready, he begins to eat slowly between the sips of a very wise wine. Upon finishing, he lies back on the sofa and remains suspended in the haze. Billie Holiday sings, "I'm a fool to love you." From the book, Rituals of the Pagan Beauty. It's a poetry book. It's a kind of collage because it has poems, myth, Japanese koans. It's a story of a woman whose name is Angelica, and she's a pagan beauty. I will read the prologue of this book. Those who have lived in the vast prairie of song and silence, we have heard of a pagan beauty named Angelica. Half woman, half dream, there is no bar that doesn't resonate with her laughter. No heart that her words have not occupied. No eyes that have not been dazzled by her sweet copper skin. Nor hands that wouldn't desire to read her naked body under the autumn moon like a psalm during Sunday Mass. Like night and day, Angelica was of a beauty that wounds like happiness lost, because one would have to be numb to see her nude and not suffer the desire to make love to her. Okay. One would have to be numb not to feel the spell of her beauty and lament during the following moons her absence and her wings. Angelica was lovely like the mauve twilight of New Orleans, bright like the summer skies of Colorado, calm like the warm stars of the Caribbean. She was but 3 times 7 years old, and her smile was of tiny pearly white teeth that disarmed the wildest of men. Her voice had not reached the stature of her years, and her golden locks twinkled in the dark fringes of the bar. For one must know that the pagan beauty was so sweet and so tough that nowhere in the vast prairie was there a man who could look her in the eyes without his eyes swelling up with a vague melancholy. This is the story of the pagan beauty, whom many vow to love and drifting try to forget, dulling their senses over the warm wine of the long prairie night. And yeah, ode to wine, more wine and cats. Ode to wine, wine, perfume, ruby, springs from an amphora of time, ineffable like the flaming chaos of my heart. Slow euphoria, oblivion, chained to the world, heavy as the pain, dark as the blood, complicit with the friends of the prairie night, ally of lovers, because that night, oh pagan beauty, will not silence your eyes, not your fingers full of poetry. Pablo Neruda sings the soft and ruly velvet, but I sing the sweet velvety wound of your sex in my lips. Summer's goblet was of crystal, and the wine from Bordeaux that I served to your lips, like autumn's gold, warm like your breasts, generous like your hands, the wine I drank gently in the vintage of the silent pagan night. Topaz, fiery and intelligent, the wine that I drank soberly in the flight of words, looking for your image. There's no clearer truth than the sensual Merlot I drink before the verse. Where are now you who offer me the glass I continue to drink? Omar Khayyam sings, and I sing, where are you now, O pagan beauty? In what amphora that doesn't belong to me? On whose lips, thirstier than my own? In what wine, dark as suffering? In what truth, sharp and deaf like fire? Where might you be now, that my heart couldn't follow like a sweet, warm, autumnal melody, full of wonder and time, and of a quiet euphoria of nards and kisses on the path to find you? Drunk from immortality, without past or future, I will drink this last glass, perfumed with saffron, cinnamon, and oblivion, and the wine will calm my suffering, and like laudanum will drop like tears from my tired eyes. And I think the last one I could read is a short story. And it's the story of a guy whose name is Carmino Flores, who wanted to be a poet. So he was trying to get a formula, to find a formula to be the best poet. Let's see what happens with him. Carmino Flores dedicated the best years of his life to the quest of rivers, cats, wine, shadows, and a woman's indifference. He believed that these were the secrets of poetry. One morning, he realized, with considerable discouragement, that no important poet, with the exception of José Joaquín Pérez, had been born on the banks of the Ozama River in Santo Domingo. So he decided to abandon his hometown. He lived intensively and deliriously in cities on the banks of wild rivers, the Hudson, the Seine, the Rhine, the Thames, the Euphrates, the Plata, the Ganges, the Yellow River, the Danube, and those rivers brought him the echoes of voices that had passed and stayed. He swore that one day he would write a poem that would be like rivers, like a river. They would flow, and their flowing wouldn't exhaust their meaning or compromise their existence. In Manhattan, the waters of the Hudson brought him the clear and mighty echoes of Walt Whitman. In Seville, he found the sweet rhymes of Becker. In Berlin, the Rhine resounded with the verses of Rilke. The Tigris and the Euphrates flow like wine that Omar Khayyam had uncorked. Borges never stopped listening to that river of liquid silver in which the fatherland was founded twice. And Baudelaire, like Paris, agonized on the banks of the Seine. In Baudelaire's poetry, Carmino Flores found the perfect conjunction of rivers, cats, and wine. For this reason, he decided to dedicate many long years to the translation of The Cat. Baudelaire taught him to love cats and a woman with the cold and profound eyes. Lie down, my beautiful cat, on my amorous heart. Retract your claws, let me plunge in your beautiful eyes, mixed with metal and agate. His passion for cats and a woman with lion-colored skin took Carmino back to Santo Domingo, a strange conjunction or a banal destiny. I tell this woman's story in another place. Carmino Flores surrounded himself with alley cats, tabbies, angoras, hybrids, Persians. And during January's bloody sunsets, when the cold wind blows, he contemplated uncertain hours with a glass of wine in one hand, and he caressed the head of a small lion with the other. In other cities, on the banks of so many cities, Carmino Flores spent many nights, perhaps too many, drinking and trying to write. Tireless reader of Omar Khayyam that he was more inspired by his verse to drink than he was to write. Ah, my beloved, fill the cup that clears today of past regrets and future fears. Tomorrow, why tomorrow, I might be myself with yesterday, 7,000 years. He drank copiously and fluidly like a river, ruby-colored Cabernet Sauvignon. His bouquet was intense, delicate, fine, smooth, and mellow. Pinot Noir, with his beloved delicacy, lightened his heart. Words became magic and life an illusion. He drank torrents of Merlot from Bordeaux. It was violet, flower, dry, balanced, and harmonious. He wanted to achieve inner peace. Chardonnay, with its hay-like yellow hue, consoled him for a while. Its intense bouquet was like that of a ripe banana or a fresh melon. It was smooth, harmonious, frank, and intimate. It reminded him vaguely of a woman whom he had loved and with whom he had been unhappy in 7 different cities. Wine filled him with shadows and sadness. He admired Homer's clear image, Democritus' precise words, and Borges' arcane realities. Each of them gave him the conviction that images are magical and that men only find themselves in definite acts. Then he took up his pen and hid from himself and his own shadows, in his own shadows. If something important or beautiful happened to Carmino Flores before he died, it was the following. I've been nothing more than a puppet tangled up by streams of desire. He died blind, alcoholic, surrounded by mangy cats, in a city on the bank of a river whose basin was full of dust, abandoned 7 times by the same woman, and without having written anything worthwhile, because he never understood that poetry doesn't live in things. On the contrary, things live in poetry the way you live in a house, a city, a woman, or perhaps a river. Thank you.